Coming up on TekThing, LIVA X2, let's talk about mini PCs, the SMANOS Wi-Fi alarm and wireless camera kit, Skylake news, 3 awesome free Windows apps, blocking phone numbers in Android, and what happens when you use your favorite video streaming gear on vacation. All that and more coming up on TekThing. If you get something useful out of this episode of TekThing, please consider contributing to the show at patreon.com/TekThing. You'll keep the show going and get access to our new patron-only build videos.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Patrick Norton.
And this is TekThing, where we make technology behave.
Except when it beats us senseless and leaves us weeping. Oh, goodness. Because it's just not an episode of TekThing this month without another security update. Go forth and patch Internet Explorer, i.e. patch Windows. Microsoft, I mean, this is a beautiful article up on Tripwire's The State of Security, i.e. under attack. Microsoft releases emergency out-of-band path. This is pretty crazy. Microsoft found a new zero-day attack flaw hole that allows a web page to take over your PC.
Oh, that's friendly.
Just go to a booby-trapped web page and they own you.
Aww.
Windows 10 Edge, not affected.
Okay.
That makes me happy. Of course, that's a minor percentage of overall Windows usage, but...
Very few people.
Very few people. But if you're on Windows 10 and using Edge, good to go.
We've also got something cool that just got released, what was this, today? Yesterday. The Google OnHub. We actually got one of these pre-ordered. Should be here in time for our first show in September if we get it actually shipped on the day that it was supposed to ship.
They're supposed to ship August 31st. I managed to find on my 5th of, I went through, it's funny because they're selling Google Play Store, sold out. Amazon sold out.
Right.
Fry's a little flaky on whether or not it would ship the 31st. And so I believe I ordered from Walmart finally. Walmart says I will have it September 1st. If not, it'll just be a long... just another edition of a long series of disappointments with Walmart.
It looks like a neat little thing. It seems to be, they're saying that it's supposed to make Wi-Fi sharing easier.
Well, it's supposed to be, the idea is that it is a smart managed hub. An acquaintance of mine who knows some of the people who are working on this project say they have 13 antennas in there. Wow. Some really interesting intelligence that manages them, an application that allows you to manage it. It's really interesting. It was interesting for me on this thread of friend of mine's of how many of these people have had a router die.
Oh, yeah.
Or have had router performance issues. And these are all very technically sophisticated folks. So I'm curious. I mean, the fact that it's sold out like instantly everywhere suggests that it's going to be popular. But yeah, hopefully it shows up on September 1st, and we're going to compare it to some other routers we've been looking at.
FYI, this is not the Echo. It looks exactly like it, which was my first impression. I was like, oh, it's like an Echo.
Maybe there's a microphone in there.
Maybe.
Skylake update, Intel Developer Forum this week. It's kind of interesting. Core i7 6700 Skylake CPUs are pretty much impossible to find if you want to build your own system. For example, here's one being sold on Amazon for $5,271.94. I think that's the air freight from Japan, half of that. You can buy the Core i5 6600, which is the $249 part. This Core i7 6700K should be a $350 part.
Yeah.
They don't seem to have any. The 6600K is available in lots of places for $250. More architectural details came out at Intel Developer Forum this week, but no pricing or ship dates. Apparently, we will have the majority of the Skylake pricing ship date info September 1st. A couple interesting technologies that Intel talked about at Developer Forum. Speed shift, which apparently lets the CPU change its power state, should speed up laptops spinning up from low power mode very quickly, handles more instructions simultaneously than Haswell or Broadwell.
Cool.
eDRAM Plus, that's their new upgraded cache on the CPU. Instead of just like the previous versions of the cache usually just fed GPU data, this is CPU or GPU data, and should be on more SKUs because they're offering both 64 and 128 gigabyte versions, so lots of parts should benefit.
Okay.
Something new that I think is kind of a ways out, software guard extensions or SGX. They're supposed to work with memory protection extensions to isolate attacks by malware, keep them taking over your processor and your system. We'll see how that goes. Apparently the GPU takes up almost half the die.
Whoa.
Yeah. I am told it can drive 3 panels at 4K at 60 hertz.
Okay.
And yes, you will still want a discrete GPU for gaming.
Oh, of course.
I'm just saying.
Oh, man.
I'm just saying.
Can I build another gaming machine?
I'm going to update my Core i7 920 first.
Okay.
When I can get the Core i7 6700K. I'm actually, it should be mind-boggling the rendering rates on video.
Yeah.
But from the previous box to this box.
It's kind of exciting.
LastPass news.
Yeah, so LastPass, just a really quick mention about this. Alan Henry wrote up over on lifehacker.com. Apparently you can get LastPass now for free on your tablets or mobile devices. So from their blog, they basically state that if you're just getting started, if you just are signing up for a LastPass account, you can now get it for the first time ever on your application, so on your tablet or your mobile device, and share it across other tablets or mobile devices. But if you want to actually get it on your PC as well, or if you're on a smartphone and you want to share it with a tablet as well, you would still have to upgrade to premium.
Okay.
So they're allowing you to use the mobile device for free now if you're just getting started, which is pretty sweet.
Multiple desktops for free?
You can use multiple desktops for free, multiple tablets for free, or multiple smartphones for free.
But if you want to mix between them.
Yeah, if you want to mix it up a little bit like I do, you have to pay for the premium version. But it's only $12 per month, or $12 per year, sorry about that. So still a really good price, and I pay for it, so I think it's worth it.
Yeah, for people who are like, do you guys trust password managers? Apparently, because I use them.
I do. We hear about
easier.
breaches all the time with things of this nature, and breaches. There was a breach with LastPass pretty recently, but it was only on something that didn't actually get into your passwords. So I still use it.
It was like some dark, dim corner of their corporate network. We're both using them. Perhaps we're fools. Feel free to email.
I'm not.
ask@TekThing.com.
Hey, you have a thing.
I have a thing.
What is this thing?
This is a LIVA X2. I've had a warm, fuzzy space in my heart for ECS ever since we built the sub $400 gaming machine on Ditriad last year. I got a $50 bomb-proof motherboard that has been flawless. So when ECS called up and said, hey, do you want to test out the new LIVA X2 mini PC? I said, sure. Unlike, say, that new $350 Intel Skylake CPU, this is not a barn burner. But let me show you what you're looking at right here. This is an entire PC. This is a classic mini PC. Let me start with the back. We've got VGA, headphone output, Ethernet, HDMI output, the power jack for the ever so lovely wall warts.
Oh, how beautiful.
Lots of ventilation in the bottom and sides of the case. It pretty much runs silently. 3 USB 3.0 ports, and here are a pair of embedded microphones.
Cool.
So, this is a $170 all-in-one PC. It's essentially, it's an N3050 processor.
Okay.
This is not a barn burner.
Yeah.
2 gigabytes of memory, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and like I said, an N3050 system on a chip. It's like 6.14 by 3.27 by 2 inches small. There's a vase mount in the box if you want to mount it on the back of an HD TV or monitor. I need to put Windows 10 on this and play around with the embedded mics, but I was actually impressed with the audio quality sitting on a desk, sitting behind a monitor. I mean, you're not going to be like, I'm going to record my next band on this. That's not what the mics are for. But if you want to talk at your machine or do a Skype conference, it actually works fairly well with a pair of headphones.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
I was kind of surprised. For not much more money, this offers a lot more than Intel's Compute Stick. And for a whopping $240 up from $170, you can get the 4 gigabyte, 64 gigabyte version. Probably not a bad idea. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I think I've already taken up, just with Windows 8 and the updates, I've got 20 gigabytes out of the 32 gigabyte storage.
Yeah.
There's an M.2 slot in this. That's really cool.
That's weird.
Well, yeah. So
it's probably a good thing, though.
It's a great thing.
Yeah.
You can put up to a 1 terabyte M.2 slot. Well, if you want to use this as sort of a mini server, or you want to have more local storage, that's a cheap and easy way to do it. 10100 gigabit Ethernet, 802.11ac, Bluetooth 4.0, 3 USB 3.0 jacks. This is going to be a great media box or conference room machine, because VGA for that conference room that you just have to keep using VGA for that projector you don't want to upgrade. Windows 8.1 is running on it. You can upgrade to Windows 10 optionally if you want to. It reminds me a lot of my dual-core Pentium gaming machine, one we built for $380 with 2 cores and no hyper-threading. Multitasking is not the forte of this machine. Now, if you like
obviously.
I mean, if you want to compile code and render a video at the same time, this is not good for you.
No. That's not going to happen on this.
Yeah. If you want to stream Netflix and work on Google Docs, you're good to go. Home theater machine, awesome. Mini server, sure. PFSense box, I'm actually thinking this might be fun to run PFSense on. Let's say video rendering on Handbrake, Photoshop, stuff like that. TechSpot had a great write-up on the N3050 when it came out, and the N3700. This is a Intel Core i7-4130, which was 154.1 frames per second on a MP4 conversion. And if I go all the way down to here, this is the Celeron N3050 at 35.8 frames per second, right? You know, this is the stuff that runs faster is a much more expensive part. So, you know, basic computing, awesome. You know, little self-contained boxes, awesome. Media streaming, awesome. Spare kitchen computer or something that the kids aren't going to be playing video games, awesome. You know, if you're on a super budget and you want to render video, man, a Core i3 or a Celeron Pentium or a Pentium like G3220 will stomp this thing.
Yeah.
But then you'll have to build an entire PC, and it's going to be $300-400. So something to think about. I liked it. It has potential. I mean, you know, you could spend a lot more money on a mini PC and get a Core i7 processor from Intel, which you guys have done a ton of on Hack 5.
Oh, yes, we have. Yeah. The Intel NUCs, they've been a lot of fun on Hack 5. So you can check that out over on hack5.org. And speaking of which, why don't we ask Darren what's going on this week?
Hey guys, coming up on Hack 5, we are cracking challenge coins and checking out Kali Linux 2.0. Find it over at hak5.org.
This week's Rapid Fire Roundup is 3 awesome free Windows apps from Patrick. Are you ready?
Go!
Go!
Okay, so Ekahau Heat Mapper. I think I might have shown this off on the new screensavers. If you haven't seen this is really sick. Map Wi-Fi strength on a map or plot it out. This, what you're looking at right now, what you can do is pull in, say, a Google map behind this. We just have a charted graph. This is a map of the Wi-Fi strength in the warehouse. In the Hack 5 warehouse. There's our primary router, and then as you start clicking on lots of other routers in the neighborhood, what you're seeing is, well, geez, these are very poor connectivity. Basically, the low strength, low strength, low strength, high strength gives you an idea of how well the Wi-Fi is covering the space you're in.
That's pretty cool.
What's really cool is if you download, you know, do a screen cap of a Google map, pull the Google map on that, walk around your neighborhood, and you can figure out which neighbor has the super bad Wi-Fi that's messing everything up. It's a really cool tool, absolutely free. You do have to give them your email address to get it for free. They have a commercial version that costs a lot more, but it's worth checking out. WinDearStat is a classic tool.
Love it.
Right? Where is all the space on my hard drive? It's here, right? Well, if you want to try something a little bit different that I like a little bit more, check out Space Sniffer, which essentially looks a lot like WinDearStat, except there's brown instead of shiny, but all of the files are labeled, like when you're physically looking at them right here.
Oh, that is cool.
I really like it. I mean,
Names of files?
Names
what
of files,
this?
yeah, it just makes me happy. And since I really got to update the M.2 drive on this laptop because it's constantly full, if you've never used Space Sniffer or WinDearStat, check them out.
Awesome.
You don't want to defrag solid state drives, but if you still have a rotating media drive, you know, standard hard drive for your primary drive, defrag it, regularly. It'll speed things up. Don't use the Windows tool. It is too slow. Try Smart Defrag 4. It's still my favorite. It's fast defrag. And something I didn't realize until recently, it's actually set up now so I can run trim on my SSD, or I can sit around and actually defrag.
What is
my drive. Trim
on your SSD?
Oh, goodness. Over time, SSD performance degrades because of the way SSDs write data. Trim corrects that.
Trim is the name
Takes
of
out
that.
the garbage. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry.
I've heard of the definition, but never the term.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So trim basically allows restores the performance of your. I should actually run trim on this, but not during the show.
No.
I'm just saying. Watch out. One thing for Smart Defrag, it is an ad-supported download, so click like the custom personalized install.
Yes.
Otherwise, it will try to install additional products. So
I think they're good ones.
I think they are.
I
too.
love WinDearStat. That's one of my favorites.
It's a class.
I have to try Space Sniffer now, though.
What we would like to hear, either up on facebook.com/TekThing or ask@TekThing.com or at TekThing, are your favorite free softwares. Tell us about them and we will share them with the rest of the TekThing audience. Your quest for home security continues.
My quest!
Your quest.
My quest. Well,
Not-
I mean, we live in a very urban area, so I like to protect my house and my 2 cats because I would be horrified if I came home and something happened to my babies.
Well, also yourself and your husband.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah, that too. Them too. So it's kind of curious. The SMANOS I'm going to read it. W020i Wi-Fi
Yes.
alarm and wireless camera kit.
Yeah, so this runs for an MSRP of $279.99. It comes with this little device right here that is basically your control system as well as an alarm system, and then the SMANOS camera, the IP camera, is separate from that, so it runs as a different thing. So I'll go through them separately. First off, you get the control, which is this little device right here, and it looks very easy to install. It has batteries on the bottom. I actually uninstalled the batteries because it's so loud when you're setting it up. So I was like, I can't stand this. So I just unplugged it and took out a battery after I set it up. I was like, I do not want this thing going off in the middle of the night because of my cats. Because the alarm actually works, and it works really, really well. So it comes with this. It also works as the control panel for all your setup. It's basically like the base for everything else that you can connect to it. It does come with some accessories as well. You get a nice little remote control, and this remote control enables you to basically lock and unlock your home as you come home, so you can engage and disengage your alarm system. It's very nice, and it's very easy to set up. Unfortunately, this thing doesn't have any codes with it.
Funny.
So if somebody stole this and then ran into your house and just disengaged it,
Or if you like dropped
they'd
it
be good
in
to
your
go.
front yard.
Yeah. You get a couple of little motion detectors for your door. So these are just like a lot of the ones that we see on the market nowadays. You simply have these together, one on your door frame, one on the door. As the door opens and goes away, it triggers the alarm
they
because
have a
it's unlocked.
Battery inside of them?
Yeah, there's a battery on the inside of these, and that lasts for ever. It's a watch battery, basically.
Okay.
And then this little trigger right here, it's very small, that lets you know if it's been messed with, if it's been tampered with. So if somebody tries to pry it off and keep these together, it'll trigger the alarm as well because this little tamper system. So very, very cool, nice little alarm feature there. This is separate. This is basically a motion detector right here. This thing runs $29.99 MSRP. It's called the MD2300, and this is also an accessory that you can connect to the alarm. So with the alarm, the accessories, you can basically track your door and window break-ins, your motion detection with the motion detector, obviously.
Right.
It also states that you can prevent, or you can detect gas leaks or fire as well, so it does have that built in as well. And the camera lets you view the scene, but the camera does not engage itself if there's any kind of motion or any kind of triggers for the alarm. So that's
Interesting.
completely separate. It's basically like setting up a drop cam with the alarm system. Completely separate thing. So that was kind of weird to me. First off, the setup took a really long time, and it was all due to this complicated setup guide that was way too wordy. Honestly, they just should have said, like, plug it in, press this button, set up your app, and that's it, and then I would have been good. But there were so many paragraphs, I was just like, okay, guys, calm down now. Calm down now. But once you're actually through the setup, the alarm works very, very well. It's very easy to set up as long as you go along with the guide. It's extremely loud, so it would scare off anybody that was going to go in your household. It also freaked out my cats a lot. It does go off. You can set different options in the app, which is free for iOS and Android. So you can choose whether you want the alarm to be very, very loud or just minimal, or you can turn it off completely. If something does happen while you don't have power, it does have the battery backup, so it lasts for 65 hours, up to 65 hours, which they estimate. The app doesn't have a way to view historical data on your previous alarms.
So if I wanted to figure out if my kids were sneaking home from school
Yeah.
or if
Yes,
somebody
exactly. So you would get the trigger, you would get the notification on your phone,
Right.
but you can't go back and see all the previous notifications before that happened.
Okay.
So you get, one or two, you see those notifications, but after that, it's like, meh, okay, can't see anything else. But you can customize the siren volume, as I said, the entry and exit time frames. So if you want it to automatically turn on as you leave the house during work every day, or if you want to automatically turn it on at a certain time, you can do that. And a lot more options with the application itself. You can add up to 30 accessories to it. That's a lot of accessories.
Well, it depends on how many windows and doors you have
Yes.
to protect in your place.
Yeah, exactly. And those do work really, really well, along with the camera. So that's considered an accessory as well. So the remote allows you to disengage, of course, no code, as I mentioned. So pretty good alarm system. The code thing, I wish they had one on here. That would be nice to have, just in case somebody stole this and knew where you lived. But they don't, so I would recommend keeping this in a safe place instead of carrying it with you.
I mean, you laugh, but if somebody manages to steal your purse because they apparently broke into
then you'd be kind of screwed.
Well, yeah, they'd have the address, they have your keys, they'd have the alarm. It doesn't call the police or anything. There's no monitoring.
No, it does
system.
not do that. It's not a subscription service or anything. After you buy this for the $280 or whatever you buy it for, then you're good to go.
Right.
It just does not trigger out to anybody else. So you would have to actually get the notification on your phone. So if you don't have your phone on you, you're kind of screwed as well.
Right.
Very similar to other smart alarms on the market. You would have to pay an extra subscription for other things like that, but this does not include that feature. So last off is the Wi-Fi camera. So this is called the IP6 Wi-Fi camera. See, look, it's so pretty. So it looks very similar to a lot of the ones on the market. This is 5 megapixels, 720p. It's wide angle, and it saves data onto a 32 gig micro SD card, which is right here in the side. It has a nice little place for that.
I feel that this was perhaps the most frustrating security camera you've ever set up.
I wanted to break it. So turns out I tried this on two different a tablet and a phone, so two different devices. I tried to set it up with the application, failed miserably.
Hate that.
Completely failed, yeah. So you can connect to it with a separate app from the alarm system. You also have the option to connect to the camera through the alarm system application. Either way, still failed miserably for me. As far as the specifications of this go, it doesn't record anything when something happens. It just does an automatic record every 20 minutes, and it saves that to the micro SD card. When you run out of room on the micro SD card, it'll just erase the oldest one and re-record over it. So it keeps on looping a recording for you, but it's not going to automatically like turn on at a specific time if there's an alarm that goes off.
So the alarm goes off because of the door trigger, and if you get to this within the next 20 minutes, and you might actually be able to save the video.
Yeah, exactly.
So thumbs down on the video camera.
Thumbs down on the video camera. I would recommend just getting the W020 by itself without the I at the end, because that does not include the camera. Save yourself some money, just get the alarm system. That works really wonderfully. If you do have animals at home, don't buy the motion detector unless you intend to turn it off for most of the day.
Or isolate the animals.
Or isolate your animals. So you can save yourself $30 there. But as far as the alarm system goes, works really well. It's very, very happily triggered by these guys, which I tested at the wrong time of the day. Sorry, neighbors.
I'm trying to decide if it would be more or less frustrating, because it doesn't call the cops.
No.
So if I'm like, if I'm at DEF CON, if I'm in the office and the office is 45 minutes away from home, is it more or less frustrating? If I'm at the office at lunch and I come back to my desk and pick up my phone and I have a warning.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
For me, I like it. I don't like paying a subscription service for an alarm system because I've never had to, knock on wood. But I live close enough that I'm generally in the vicinity that I could call cops, and there's cops really close to where I live. So generally, if I was able to just call 911 real quick and be like, somebody's breaking into my house, I have proof, my notification thing came off, please
I wonder if they would actually
there.
respond to that.
I don't know if they would. I assume they would.
I suspect y'all have thoughts on this. Do us a favor, email ask@tekthing.com. And I think we're both curious what people in the audience are using for security. Do you use an alarm system? Are you on my side of the fence, which is like, oh, let's just secure the house with concrete and rebar and razor tape. I exaggerate. But
and a baseball bat.
Nothing says home security like a pissed off Marine with a baseball bat in the backyard. That's for you, Nubix.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, if you haven't seen it, if you've been thinking about solar energy or putting solar panels, I should say, on your house, Project Sunroof is this really cool 20% project that came out of Google.
Cool.
And check this out. So it's only like in the Bay Area right now, I believe. But what it does is it actually gives you can pick, you type in your address, and it tells you how much sunlight you get per year, and then how much of your roof should be available for solar panels.
Wow.
And it's like $13,000 in savings. And well, okay, so that's not bad. That's if I do $125 a month. If I have like a big electric bill, like $200 a month, it will give you an idea of your annual savings. based on the local electric cost, whether you buy it outright, whether you do it as a loan.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's an interesting tool. If you've been kind of curious what kind of solar company, and again, it's in.
I'm totally going to use that.
Yeah,
I'm very curious about that.
I thought it was pretty slick. I hope they make it nationwide soon, because around here it's getting to the point where you have to, in most cases, pay a bunch of money to get them to do a solar inventory of your house.
Yeah.
And this at least gave me an idea that, hey, you know what? That tree next to my house doesn't shade as much of the roof as I thought it does. Maybe solar panels are in my future.
Cool. Hey, we should tell them about Patreon.
Patreon.com/TekThing. We are viewer supported. TekThing is viewer supported, and only our patrons get access to our new monthly build video. So you can donate however much you want per episode. Every little bit counts and keeps the show going to you each and every week.
And of course, if you can't donate, that's no worries at all. Just take the time to send us questions or tips, or share the show with your family and your friends. I'm sure you guys have tons of them.
Coworkers,
share them.
neighbors.
Give our video a
Facebook.
thumbs up on YouTube, or you can hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube right now. Where is that subscribe button? I think it's up. Oh wait, I think it's down there.
iTunes, you've got an RSS feed, you can use your favorite podcatcher. We're working on a Roku player.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You can like our Facebook page as well. It all helps. And we just want to thank you so much for supporting the show in each and every way possible. Thank you.
By the way, if you're on iTunes or the podcast application on iOS, do us a favor. If you could review the show, that would be killer, because it really helps promote the show internally in the iTunes universe. The iTunes universe.
Thank you again. Thank you.
Our friend Sarah writes in, I would like to bring my Chromecast along with me on vacation. Is it possible to use it with a hotspot and another separate mobile device to cast with? Although free hotel Wi-Fi is usually available, I would never trust it. LOLZ. Sarah was with us at DEF CON.
Yes.
She's a little paranoid, as well she should be, about hotel
Thank you, Sarah.
Wi-Fi. Yeah.
So, quick answer, short way is absolutely. Your mobile hotspot data will work just like an at-home access point or a router.
Right.
So you can connect to it in the same way that you would connect to your home, at your home with your Chromecast. Now the mobile device that you want to cast to would also need to be on that hotspot as well, so the same wireless network. And keep in mind, data caps on mobile can be horribly low, like 10 gigs or less. So unless you truly have unlimited data with your hotspot, I would not recommend using it to stream video onto your Chromecast, because that will eat it up real fast.
I'm not particularly paranoid about using a Roku or an Apple TV or a Chromecast on the hotel Wi-Fi, perhaps because I'm a fool, but I don't have any particular issue with that. The bigger problem we run into is not having enough bandwidth on the hotel Wi-Fi to stream it, because something to think about, if you take a look at Netflix, has a great page on how much data Netflix uses.
Yes, we did bring this up in a previous episode.
Yeah, well, so if you're at home, you probably have everything set to high, which is 3 gigabytes per hour. That means in 3 hours, I would blow through all 10 gigabytes of data I have to share on my cell phone. Well, it's worth considering. So if you are traveling, suddenly, there it goes. You might want to go into the playback settings inside of Netflix. If you go into your settings there, you can change it from medium, low, auto. I normally keep it on high at home, but if you are traveling, you might want to drop it down to low or medium, unless you have truly unlimited data.
Yes.
Truly unlimited data.
Truly unlimited.
This is an interesting one. Tom wrote in, I've got Android Lollipop 5.1.1, and yet there is still no feature to block a specific phone number. Can you recommend a workaround or a specific app to do the same thing? And that's Tom in St. Louis, Missouri.
Good old St. Louis. So some phones allow blocking through their settings. Luckily, my Samsung does this. It's really great. It has this built-in blocker called the auto reject list, which is so much fun to use, which will just reject a call anytime it comes through. So it's great for robocalls. But if you use Google Voice on your Android phone, you can also set that up to block calls directly from your call inbox. So you would go to voice.google.com. I'm not going to show mine because it has phone numbers all over the thing. But basically, right underneath the phone number that called you, you have the option to block it, which is great. Your carrier may be able to block calls for you, but ask if it costs money beforehand, because they might charge for it. And then as for apps, I found 2 apps that you may be interested in. First is Calls Blacklist. So this one is completely free, gets great reviews. And the second one is called Call Control. So this one will cost $8 for the pro version of it, which allows you to do all the additional features, but it's free to download. So you might want to check out either of those applications.
One last question before we go. Alan writes, hi Shannon and Patrick, what do you think of the Electronic Frontier Foundation's Privacy Badger? How do you think it compares to other plugins out there like Ghostery? I'm interested in hearing your thoughts since your show always provides interesting insights. Alan, that's a nice thing to say.
I love that. Just so happens that I'm wearing my EFF t-shirt today. That's so awesome. So great question. We love the EFF here, and I hope that you guys do too. So Privacy Badger, EFF.org/Privacy Badger. To be honest, you'd probably be fine with any of the ad blocker plugins. They're pretty much similar to each other, but Privacy Badger is the one that is a little bit different. So the interesting thing about this is Privacy Badger is developed by a nonprofit. It does not use a centralized blacklist like other blockers use, which is why some of them get a lot of beef, because some of them pay like a corporate amount of money so that they don't end up on a block list. So that's how it's generated. So when you first start using Privacy Badger, it doesn't block much, but as you start using it and it starts detecting third-party trackers, it'll block them as it goes. So this is what's called heuristic blocking, and you can read all about heuristic blocking over on the EFF's GitHub because, hey, it turns out you can see the code of Privacy Badger right over there. I also want to mention that GigaOhm did a really good write-up all about the key differences in how Privacy Badger works. At the very end of this, they also discuss how third-party domains how many were allowed by different privacy blockers. You'll see that Privacy Badger on a new install still allowed a lot of third-party blockers, but over time, as you continue to use it, it starts noticing them and it starts decreasing that number. So it really depends on which one you like as far as the interface goes and what kind of websites that you're browsing for the certain kind of blockers. So if you just browse like news sites very often, then you probably don't want one that blocks everything all at once. If you browse sites that have lots and lots of advertisements on them, you probably want to use one that hits everything at once, like Ghostery, which does really well. I think that's it for today.
I think it is. It just reminded me of something about super cookies.
Oh.
That I heard about. We'll try to look up.
That sounds delicious.
It sounds like invading your privacy with Marines.
Super cookies.
And sticks.
But hey, we should mention something not about super cookies, unless you're eating them. Once in a while, put down your phone and step away from your screen and close your laptop and do something analog, like going out and trying a new cuisine or a new restaurant that you have never tried before. I love doing that kind of stuff.
I still have not tried Ethiopian.
Ooh, I haven't either. Is there an Ethiopian place nearby?
I don't know. Last one I saw was in New York City. My son, actually, I was amazed. He wanted to try new cuisines. We took him to his his second Thai restaurant. Now that I think about it. But he started trying new things on the menu.
That's awesome.
Especially since he lived on nothing but basically white food for like 15 months of his life.
Oh. Well, my most recently
chips.
Acquired taste is for Vietnamese food. So good.
Pho.
Oh, pho.
It's all about the pho.
So good.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Shannon Morse.
We'll see you next week on TekThing.
Oh, wait.
The most Canadian foods
Thank you!
include...
Oh, I didn't bring in my uke today. Oh, I learned something new. It's called chunking. It's where you go...
You release the strings a little bit, it makes a percussive noise instead of the chord? Yeah.
No.
No?
Well, last night I took it over to Sarah's place and her husband tightened them for me so that they stretch a little bit.
Like tightened them up and then loosened them up and then tuned it?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, not only do you get some of the finest information available in the technological universe here on TekThing, you get uke tips.
And then I learned how to sing, or how to play Edelweiss.
Oh, I can't sing that. It's probably rights are owned by...
Probably. Yeah, that one.
You a big Sound of Music fan?
Sound of Music. Oh, a little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Sing a lot of them in choir.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess you would, actually. I had a bad experience involving Sound of Music at camp when I was like 7.
Aw.
Yeah.
You poor thing.
I was very afraid for Seamus when he experimented with musical theater. He did great, though, and he loved it.
Good.
You know what we also love? Each and every one of our patrons.
We love you.
Thank you for watching. Where is that you?